Welcome everyone to Just TV, Just FM, the Underground Radio C Facebook page. We're also live on the NCG television network in Italy, on the Roku station 101. We are also live through LinkedIn. So any of my folks that are there, hi everyone. Thank you for always being supportive and awesome. You guys are all super wonderful. If you have been kind of watching or listening to some of the recordings I already put up, well, they've been about the NOM Center, if you will. I'm trying to figure out the proper name for it. But this is Dr. Gill. He's going to formally introduce who he is, what he's been doing, and, you know, a little bit maybe of a couple stories, maybe how you started, and what he's doing for others. So, Dr. Gill, please formally introduce yourself, because you're not probably just Dr. Gill. You probably have some titles. So, yeah, take it away.
All right. Well, thank you for having us here. So my name is Harbir Singh Gill. I'm a family physician, specialized in addiction medicine, and then trauma therapy. So we founded the center called Northeast Addiction and Mental Health Center for Holistic Recovery, which is long, and we just call it NAM, N-A-M. And what we do is we treat addiction and mental health. My career trajectory, as I was trying to heal addiction, I learned, oh wow, there's a lot of mental health here. There's a lot of trauma. And so as I went further and further into treating that and learning about that, then I realized, oh, families are a big part too. So then we created this center for holistic recovery. So mind, body, soul, people, their families, their systems, their communities, because really addiction and mental health, they really belong to communities. So we treat both here. We treat addiction and mental health. I realized, there was a guy. I would be running groups every week, and there were some people who would come who were homeless, but they'd come every week. They'd come at the same time, and I'd ask them what they learned, and then they'd be like, we don't know, not much. We just like being here because we're homeless. Aww. And then I was like, oh, okay, so they don't have safety in their lives. Okay. So then I can teach them about the mind and tools and things, but they don't. That evening they're worried about shelter and food, so they can't learn. It's like a Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So we got to help the food situation and the home situation. So then we expanded it to involve inpatient treatment. So we found a house, we staffed it, and then we started providing inpatient treatment for those who needed it, outpatient for those who needed that. And so slowly our program has grown. You know, I would have patients that would come and do treatment, and then they would go back to their families and get yelled at and get abused, and they would relapse because addiction is a stress-induced defect of the mind. And so the family didn't want them to relapse, but they thought, hey, they had done treatment, so they must be good. So now all this anger we've been kind of holding back because it would just make the things work, now they're ready for it. Let them have it. and then that creates a relapse, a cycle.
Yeah.
And so then we developed our family program. We got some grants and things, and so then slowly over time our program has become more and more holistic. We're really that word is very important to us.
Yeah. Please, can you go into the holistic meaning? Because sometimes, we think of like herbal teas. Or Sensi, the oils and things like that.
Yeah.
So maybe go into that just a little bit, because it's a little bit more than that.
Yes. So holistic so I'm a medical doctor. I worked in acute care and hospitals and rural. I've done all sorts of things before becoming a addiction doctor and a trauma therapist.
I also heard that you worked at the Lougheed.
Yes, I spent many years, 6 years at the Lougheed, and
Very
I was
cool.
for 3 of those I was the chief of one of the large programs in there.
Cool.
And what I realized was, wow, there's a lot of addiction and mental health all over, and it's actually probably one of the root causes of our system's failure. So why are emergency room wait times so high? In some way, shape, or form, either addiction or mental health in people or in their families is contributing to this very large backlog. So when I stopped doing the acute care stuff, I said to myself, I want to be part of the solution. So then what I realized was the solution has to be holistic. So holistic does involve it does involve medication. It does involve, all those things you'd expect a doctor in a healthcare system to do. People, there's like a syphilis outbreak going on right now. And so syphilis is a deadly disease that can create severe abnormalities in babies. So, when people come for addiction treatment, we screen them for syphilis and HIV and hepatitis C. We have treatments for these things.
Okay.
So it's medical.
Medical and
the psychological, the social, the spiritual. So these a human is mind, body, and soul. So when people have severe problems, they've lived under severe stress for 20 years, they develop problems in mind, in body, and in the spiritual realms. And so in addiction treatment, you kind of have to help address the blocks in each of those levels. And so then we've learned a lot from the Eastern practices. We've learned a lot from the Western psychological practices. 12-step programs really integrate a lot of the recovery concepts around healing. So that's like Alcoholics Anonymous and various groups like that. Mm-hmm. So they deal a lot with the spiritual side and the social side. And then we learned all this trauma therapy stuff to kind of address it on the psychological side, and have weaved it into a program that can address things in families as well as in clients. And so that's what we mean by holistic. It doesn't mean like everyone smokes pot and is and an essential oil will fix your problem. Although, you know what? One thing I will say is my in medical school we learned how to diagnose illness. Nobody ever taught us how to live. Right. I'll tell you that I had 1 hour probably total of training in trauma treatment or trauma anything in 10 years of formal education, because it's just not something that's really focused on. So then when you start treating severe addiction and mental health, homeless people, right, they've forgotten how to live. Yes. And so how do we learn anything in life? Role models, right? Mm-hmm. So we have to role model the way for them, and then they learn from us. Slowly through repetition, and so we use a model called therapeutic communities that slowly teaches people through repetition and feedback. One guy, he didn't seem to have a problem like reaching into a jar of peanut butter with a spoon and then putting it in his mouth and then taking it, and there's a communal jar.
Oh no!
It's like not a thing, right? But like he didn't know. He would do it forever, and his housemates wouldn't tell him anything. They just wouldn't eat the peanut. They saw him do it. They hated that he did it, but they didn't know how to give him feedback. Oh. They were like, "It's going to start a fight. We don't know how to get feedback." And so
I'd be like, just hand him a fresh spoon.
So
you know what? I get a different jar for everybody else, and he can just have that.
But like, imagine being married to such a person, right? You have to learn how to give feedback through conflict. All of these folks with severe problems, they've never given feedback properly. It's usually they go and get drunk, or they get in a big fight, or a domestic violence, or something. They don't know how to live.
No fighting over peanut butter, guys.
Exactly, right? But they would, and they wouldn't know how to like calmly have just a face-to-face. So then we teach that. We model that. So that's what truly holistic recovery is. You model, you give feedback, you're gentle, supportive, loving. Right. These guys need a lot of love from their family of circumstance. Right. And then over time, they can go back to their family of origin. So people oftentimes have a very stressed out bond with their family of origin. What we've learned is that, you can mend things, but you need time, and you need to first get some hope. And so we build a community of people around, and then they receive love. And then they become, it's like a little circuit in the brain. It's like it's open a little bit. The more you use it, the more strong it gets. And stronger it gets, the more you use it. And so then people, another person, this is common. Wife spends 2 hours making the food. Beautiful meal. And then not enough salt. Takes the food, throws it against the wall, and big temper tantrum, and just That's no way to treat someone's love, right? That's no way to treat someone. You can say calmly,
Yeah.
but
Pass the
you know,
salt, please, dear.
pass the salt, dear,
Yeah.
and so learning how to express gratitude, learning how this is what we teach, and when we
Yeah.
teach that, people learn how they can have harmonious relationships. So that's another element
Right.
of holistic. So yes, essential oils, massage. If I had a lot of money, Eastern practices, acupuncture, I would actually involve all of it. It's great.
Yeah, yeah.
But a lot of places will tell you, oh, just do laser therapy, will fix your addiction.
Laser therapy for addiction? I've never even heard of it like that.
There's all sorts of stuff out there, and it may work for some element, but you know, some point you just got to address the
Kind of
trauma. You got to address the
begins
neglect.
in here, doesn't
It
it?
does begin in here, and that's what we do at NUM. That's what holistic is.
Right. So some of the clients were talking about the 3 C's.
Yes.
So do you want to go into that?
Mhm.
And then we kind of discussed that a little bit, but
Yes.
if you want to go into a little bit more depth on that.
So we use a thing at NOM called self-therapy. So I know, I'm a trauma therapist, I know that most people will not have the means to afford long-term therapy relationship with a single person, which is oftentimes what it takes to, you know, $200, $300 an hour for like 50 sessions to, like, you know, really go deep into stuff. And you know, a lot of people don't have the money, a lot of people don't have the time, a lot of people don't have either, and have really lost hope in it. So we've done is we've built a model whereby someone can build a daily practice and walk a journey. So journeys, when people are in trauma, they're kind of like, as children we're like wide-minded, we have a lot of freedom, we think openly, and then as trauma builds up we become more and more narrow until we're so narrow that we can't see any other way to be other than this dysfunctional, contorted way of being that throws platters against the wall and puts, you know, used spoons in peanut butter. So then when we want to heal that, right? It's a journey to get back up. It's always easy to fall down a mountain, harder to walk back up. So that process of healing starts long before someone enters our realm and continues long after. And what governs a successful process? It's 3 things. Connect to self, connecting to others, and doing some kind of prayer affirmation system to guide a transformation process. It's a spiritual process, healing. And anyone who says that, you know, deep ego state therapy and trauma, like, it's all very, very spiritual when you get into it. And that doesn't have to mean organized religion if someone's been traumatized by religion, but we all have to kind of learn to connect to something in us, outside of us, whatever that is, to help guide that. So connecting to self is things like meditation, mindfulness. Building a relationship to self is much like building a relationship to anyone else. Time, consistency, and effort. If you do that with a connection to yourself, you'll begin to love yourself. And as you love yourself, you'll have access to more of yourself, more of your own capacity. So connecting to self and then connecting to others. Others isn't just random people, it's people that you can either learn from or teach something to. The more you learn, the more people come to you for teaching. Everyone's a healer. Mm-hmm. So people who have healed a little bit actually have a tremendous amount to offer others. So that process, the teacher learns 10 times as much as a student. So that process of connecting to others in recovery and healing, people walking journeys, it allows you to learn stuff. Better ways to meditate, better ways to pray, better ways to, you know, live, and tools to, and even at this stage I'm still learning. And then the prayers and affirmations, they kind of guide that intention setting. You know, there's a saying in the East, meditation is learning to listen to the universe. Prayer is the process of sending signals out to the universe. And so when someone comes in 12-step programs, which is a mainstay treatment for addiction, they come, their antenna is really kind of crooked, so they don't listen well and they don't transmit signals out. So that process of practicing that it guides a journey, And the more you sort of, and there's a saying in yoga, when the student is ready, the teacher appears.
Yeah.
So that's what happens in journeys. Random people show up to just help magically at the right time. When we're really intentional about this process, immense healing, and that's is possible, and that's what trauma healing is. It's journeys. Addiction and mental health, trauma journeys. Journeys back up the mountain to become kind of whole again. And that involves mind, body, and spirit. So it's a holistic process. It's beautiful. We're very lucky to be doing this and being witness to some of these amazing journeys.
Right. That's amazing. Can you briefly tell us what the 12 steps are? You don't
yes,
have
absolutely.
to go into too many depth, but just kind of an overview.
Yeah, so 12 steps from a trauma lens is really a focused form of trauma therapy. And this is just my feeling on it.
Yeah.
So it's first 3 steps focus on connecting to something, some source of energy that's greater than yourselves, admitting that you don't have it in you by yourself to solve this issue. You need to go beyond yourself to solve this issue. Seeing something out there and asking it for help, surrendering to it. That's step 1, 2, and 3. What they found is that when you do trauma healing, you need power and energy, you need strength. And sometimes you're so bankrupt at the bottom of it that you just don't have much in you. To forgive, it takes energy to forgive. It takes energy. So then step 1, 2, and 3 is a process which you start to get open again. You trust again. You learn to maybe think, okay, maybe I gave up. Someone might have given up on God a long time ago. Maybe they learn some kind of way to connect to something greater than them that gives them energy. And then what do they use that energy for? 4, 5, 6, 7. Things they've done to hurt other people in life. The resentments they hold, the fears they hold, they come and they explore these. Mm-hmm. And as they do that, and they learn to, accept that they've done stuff. We've all done stuff, right?
Yeah.
And it turns out in the world of trauma, the stuff we've done to others is the thing that really compromises our connection to that energy source. So they learn to get good with that and give it up and maybe feel some forgiveness.
Right. Yeah.
And then step 8 and 9 have to do with making amends. Right? If you've done wrong to people, got to make it up.
Yeah.
And if it's possible, if it can be done.
Yeah.
And step 10, 11, 12 are just continuing that process as in an everyday practice, growing your connection. And step 12 is actually serving, learning to be of service. Anyone who's really hurt a lot of people in life with addiction or severe mental things, they're going to have to do service. Service will have to become part of their life. And if they do that, their symptoms will go away. Their cravings go away. This is what 12-step programs have shown. They've been around for almost 100 years, and they really do work. Now, they get clogged by trauma. So at NOM, I look at this and I'm like, okay, well, if we have a saying in the world of trauma: children are poor observers. They are great they're great observers, poor interpreters. And so then they have to be complemented by parents who are poor observers. They don't really, lots of parents, we're not always paying attention, but they are great interpreters. They know, okay, they can say,
so-and-so was in the peanut butter jar.
Yeah, and here's what might have actually been happening. So what happens a lot is children who've grown up in family troubles, they just learn to distrust positions of authority. They like mom and dad. If mom and dad are jerks, then the child will just think everything of power is a jerk. God must be a jerk too. If mom and dad can't be trusted, then no one else can be trusted. Teachers can't be trusted. Therapists can't be trusted. Universe can't be trusted. If I can't ask mom and dad for help, then growing up, the conclusion is I can't ask anything for help. And so really addressing these trauma things, using very effective techniques, we found actually people can heal a tremendous amount. And so that's kind of what these programs do, and that's what we sort of add. And then we just, if they need housing, we give them housing and do the work with them there. Right. If they just need a day program to hang out, we do the work with them there. If they just can come for appointments, we try to work with them there. But we we're not infinitely resourced. So it's been 6 years we've been doing this.
Yeah.
This is our first sort of attempt at going and doing any fundraising, because this is addiction, mental health. It's a community disease.
Yeah.
It doesn't belong to any one individual. It belongs to families, to people, to networks.
Yeah, the
And
communities.
so we need support.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah, let us know what your fundraising is for, what we'd like to put those funds to.
yeah. So the funds will go. There's a spectrum of care needed. So right now we've developed the treatment spectrum. So inpatient, outpatient treatment. But there's actually great need for an integrated shelter, medical detox, and what we call early recovery housing. So if you ask an addicted person, do they want to stop doing the drugs and stuff? The answer is never going to be yes, not in the acute moment of intoxication. Usually when people come to treatment, it's when something bad's happened, like the police have shown up, or they have a court problem, or they have a health problem, or they're on the streets because their wife chucked them out, or some kind of thing. And then there's a moment of like, oh, yeah, I'm ready. And if you catch them in that moment, a person can exit and may take the hand up. But if you lose them in that moment, or if you say, oh, yeah, great, there's a 1 week delay, then they're going to go back in, and maybe they'll come up again in a couple of weeks or months. Maybe they'll die while they're down. Just if you think about any habit that you've tried to stop, that you've had, and that's like a self-defeating habit, maybe eating too much or chips or something, and you just ask yourself, how many times did I have to try before I was successful? Addiction, same thing. Except every time they fail, it creates societal problems, marital problems, children problems, it creates health problems, it creates legal problems. But the process is the same. You might have to try 1,000 times. So what we need is a system that can respond to the level of care that a person needs. So what we found is some people, they're not quite ready to stop using drugs and alcohol, but they get kicked out. So they need a shelter, but a shelter that understands and wants to help do recovery.
Yeah.
And can get them on the road. Maybe they're not ready. We'll meet them where they're at, but we don't leave them there. We meet them where they're at, give them good food, warm place, and also some tools to help resolve some of the trauma, to build some of that hope.
Yeah.
Some people, they've lost so much hope that they could have their family back. One guy said this to me. He said, Doc, I'm never going to get my family back. What's the point? I may as well just drink. And
It's the easy way out.
it is the easy way out, and he has no hope. So a guy like that, you have to give tools. But there might be a time where he's drinking and going to work, and you're giving him tools, and eventually, maybe in a year or 6 months, it's like, okay, I'm ready. Then you have a place for them in the medical detox. So we need a system that can do that. That's where these funds will go. We need a system to create capacity. A lot of times, you're ready for treatment, but there's no capacity. So then we can build the capital assets that can help. And really, the government needs and is willing to support things that are proven. So then we would use this money to prove our model works. And then the government's more than happy to sort of support models that work.
Yeah.
And we know how to prove it to them. We just need the funds to kind of grow our system, to involve this more acute care. A shelter, you need more staff, right? You need the safety issues. So then we're very much able to do it, but we need to do it in partnership with the community.
Right. And then people can volunteer too, right?
Yeah, totally. So we definitely need volunteers, people who can help, people who have connections, people who have a skill set that they want to help with, board, marketing, support, various kinds of ways, fundraising. We have a lot of need, and so on our www.nomrecovery.com, there's a volunteer link, and then there's if you're interested in helping out, and in terms of donation, everyone has a couple of people that have a bit of money, and the money going towards NOM actually directly will save life. We've seen it. We have a sobriety rate of 55% from alcohol after 12 months. We have 60% for hard drugs, 70% for marijuana, for those that's a problem. About 60% of our patients were unemployed, get employed. 73% who are homeless become stably housed. Like a dollar spent is going to make a big difference in our Alberta communities.
Yeah.
You know?
Are you guys working with any other communities? Like,
oh yeah, totally.
Any other homeless shelters or any of that in the city?
Yeah. We actually have a broad array of partners. So we don't do this work in isolation because we're trying to create this continuum of care, and we don't have it in us to do it all. So then of course we have to have partners. So we have partners with the local places of worship. We have partners with the 2 detoxes in town, 3 actually, Alpha House Drop-In Centre and Renfrew Recovery Centre, as well as outside of Calgary with the various treatment centres, and we have a Centre for Newcomers, is a great partner for us. We have Punjabi Community Health Services and Oxford House, which does a lot of sober living and pre-treatment. So we have partnerships because we've been at this for 6 years, right?
Yeah.
And we've built partnerships. We support them, and it's all hands on deck in this crisis.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so very much. Any other tidbits or anything you want to quickly share?
You know what?
That comes to mind?
There's hope. There's a lot of hope when you take a holistic. As a doctor, I'm very surgical about problems that I decide to choose to solve and address, and so doctors are very evidence-based. So I have a saying, 10 times better outcomes at 1/10 the cost. So at NOM we innovate and we figure out, and we've really built a model that works, and now it just needs some support to breathe it into and scale it, and so I see a ton of hope in healing. Families can heal, people can heal. Miracles are possible. We see them every day. And the yogi would say, "I don't believe in miracles. I depend upon them." And I agree. I think that's beautiful and brilliant saying.
Right. Absolutely. Well, thank you so very much for coming on, Dr. Gill, here at NOM Center, and all of you that showed up for the open house today. What is today? December? November. We're still November.
November 9th.
Where did that go? November 9th. Getting too ahead of myself. November 9th here. In the greater Forest Lawn area of Calgary, Alberta. Thank you all for showing up today, giving your support. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. What is it?
www.nomrecovery.com.
nomrecovery.com. Volunteers are welcome and needed. Help out if you can. Money donations as well. All that great stuff. If you have any other questions, let us know. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you guys soon. Have a great